I always give away too much. It's like I've got no sense of touch.
Hey Lifer Tribe, welcome to another video, Living Life with Stae. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Stae Hall, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And since you're here, please consider hitting that subscribe button and becoming a permanent part of the Lifer Tribe. Y'all, do you ever realize that sometimes we set unfair expectations for people? And we are wanting certain things and wondering why we're not getting those things, but we've never really asked for those things or communicated those things. And the phrase "you teach people how to treat you" is so real. And also, you can only expect what you've been accepting. And so if you've been accepting certain behavior, if you've been accepting certain outcomes, if you've been accepting certain treatment, then that's all you can expect to get. And sometimes we feel that people are going to just treat us a certain way just because of who we are, or just because that's how we treat people. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. And that goes for business as well as in your personal life. And so let's talk about personal relationships first of all. People have relationships in their lives, whether it's with family members, friends, or a romantic partner, where from the very beginning, the treatment was not what we wanted. And we felt like we were being treated poorly. We felt like we were not getting what we deserved out of the relationship. And we never said anything about it, or we never did anything about it. Or maybe we said something and the behavior didn't change and we still continue to be in the relationship. That is a you problem. That's not a them problem. If you are not communicating and then following your communication with action, then there's no real incentive for people to change the way that they're treating you. There's no real incentive for them to change their behavior because, quite frankly, they don't see anything wrong with it. And a lot of times you have to show people more than you tell people. And sometimes the way you show people is by removing yourself from the relationship. It's always best to have those conversations. I definitely believe in the power of the crucial conversation. However, that doesn't always work. And especially if you've been accepting a certain behavior and treatment for a long time, what you're saying falls on deaf ears. And so there are those times when the best thing that you can do is remove yourself from the relationship. And when I say that, I don't mean that it necessarily has to be permanent. I don't necessarily mean that you have to cut all communication, but you definitely need to change the way you move with that person and let them see you in a different light. Let them see that your words match your actions, because I've had this conversation with you. I've told you that I'm uncomfortable with this certain behavior, this style of communication, and you've continued to do that. A lot of times when we decide to have those conversations with people, especially when it's people we've been close to for a long time and we've been accepting this poor behavior from them a long time, when we decide to enter into those crucial conversations, they will deflect and then start the gaslighting. And so the only thing that you can do is show them what you mean by maybe not being available for them all the time, maybe by changing the way you communicate with them. Maybe what you need to do is start calling them out on that poor behavior right in the midst of it. As soon as they say something that you find to be disrespectful, as soon as they behave towards you in a way that you find to be aggressive or inappropriate, call it out right then. Don't wait to address it. It's just like, parents will say with little children, when they misbehave in the store, you need to address it in the store. Don't wait until you get home. Address it right then. When the behavior happens, hold that mirror up and show them immediately what it is that you're talking about. And oftentimes that can eliminate some of the gaslighting, because they don't have time to reflect. You're in the moment. And so that's what I mean by teaching people how to treat you, and also setting the expectation by communicating rather than just feeling like, well, since I'm your girlfriend, of course you're going to be kind to me, or since I'm your sister, of course you're going to understand me, because we're all individuals. We are all unique, and we have different ways of receiving and perceiving information, and we can never assume that anybody is going to communicate with us the way that we would like them to communicate, just because. We can't expect people to read our minds. So the first thing you want to do is communicate, have the conversation, bring out what your issues are, let them know the things that you're struggling with, and then if that doesn't work, then you're going to have to change the way you interact with that individual. And unfortunately, sometimes that still isn't enough, and you may just have to distance yourself from that person altogether, because no matter how much you try to blame them for the behavior, it ends up still being a you problem as long as you continue to accept it. And so those are the steps that you need to go through in order to get the treatment that you desire and, quite frankly, you deserve. Now, when it comes to a professional setting, it looks a little bit different. And professionally, usually when I deal with that with clients, it's about them feeling like they're not valued or heard in the workplace, that they're being looked over to participate in certain projects. Maybe they feel like they've been passed up on for certain promotions that they feel like they deserve. A lot of times they feel like they're not getting the training that they need, and they don't feel like their company or their boss is investing in them the way that they feel like they need to be invested into in order for them to thrive in the company. As business owners, a lot of times they don't understand why they're not getting the customers and the clients that they want, and they feel like people aren't taking their business seriously, or they feel like they're not getting the support from family members and community members that they really need in order to thrive. And what I say to people when it comes to the professional is you have to make your needs known. Don't just think because you're there, people are automatically going to want to support you. And it's not that they don't want to support you, but they don't necessarily know what it is that you need. And so if you're just showing up every day and doing a thing, and you're not having any conversations, if you're not expressing your desires, then how are they going to know that's what you want? If you're an employee at a company and your desire is to move up that corporate ladder and to get promotions and to be a part of different projects, then have that conversation with your supervisor, with your manager. Don't wait for them just to put something in your lap or say, hey, this position is opening up, I think you would be great for that. Be proactive. Take your destiny and your journey into your own hands. Don't just sit there and mull over the fact that, oh, I'm overlooked again. Oh, there's someone else getting the position. And one thing that really burns me up when I hear it is they already knew who they were going to pick. Well, did you even throw your hat in the ring? Did you even let anybody know that you were interested? What have you done to take control of your own career, to manage your own journey? You can't just sit back and wait for people to spoon feed you and then complain. People like people who show initiative. They like people who are willing to take charge of their own career path. They like people to ask for what it is that they want. A lot of companies, a lot of managers, supervisors, CEOs, they want people who are proactive. And so you have to take some of that into your own hands. And then if it doesn't work, then that's the time to have a conversation. That's the time maybe to bring in an HR professional or have some conversations on a higher level. But until you have taken the steps to ask for the training, maybe to ask for a mentor program, maybe to sit down and discuss a career path, you can't assume that anybody knows that you want to do anything differently than what you're doing from day to day. Because what you have to be aware of is not everybody in the corporate field is looking to go beyond where they are. Some people are 100% satisfied in the position, in the job, working in the capacity that they're working in. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But how is your leadership supposed to know that you have other desires and that you want to broaden your horizon and you want to expand your career unless you articulate that and communicate that to them? Stop leaving your career, your earning potential up to other people. And as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, it's the same thing. That old cliche or saying or whatever you call it, if you build it, they will come, is not necessarily true. It depends on who you're building and who you're expecting to come. So when you build it, you have to invite people into your space. You have to market, you have to advertise, and you also have to step out of your comfort zone. Your friends, your family members, the people that you deal with on a regular basis from day to day, most often are not going to be your customers and clients. They may be your cheerleaders, they may not be, because they know you in a certain capacity, you have a certain relationship, and so many times it's hard for them to see you as anything else. And it's not with any malice intent, it's just human nature in a way. If you've always been the BFF, then that's the relationship you have. They wish you well in your business, but that's not what's top of mind for them. If you're the daughter, if you're the sister, if you're the auntie, that's who you are to that person. So don't expect them to automatically, because of the relationship, become your customer. However, there's nothing wrong with you going to friends and family members and saying, hey, look, I have this business and this is what I need from you. If you can just share something about my business on your Facebook page, or if you could just book this one event for me, if you can just do this or that, ask them specifically for what it is that you need. If you don't ask, then you can't just sit back and have this unrealistic expectation that they're just going to do that. But what you also have to do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is step out of your comfort zone, step away from the people who you are the closest to, and start meeting some strangers. Network. Those are the people who are going to be your customers. Those are the people who are going to be your clients, because they don't know you as anything else. And you have a product or a service that is going to solve a problem that they are currently dealing with, and they're going to want your help. So you need to go to networking events. You need to get on social media other than Facebook. You need to go on LinkedIn. You need to start making some connections. You need to start building your email list. You have to do things to broaden your horizons and to expand your circle past the people that you're the most comfortable with. I have seen so many new entrepreneurs and business owners get so discouraged because they had this expectation that their family and friends were going to just buy them out as soon as they launched, and then launch day came and it was crickets. Well, that's because you are selling to the wrong people and barking up the wrong tree. And so we have to learn how to stop setting unrealistic expectations for people on things that they never told us they were going to do. When was it that your cousin told you that if you
ever open a business, I'm gonna be your number one customer?
When was it that your auntie ever said,
As soon as you start this business, I'm gonna buy you out day one?
they never said that. All they said is, I'm going to love you. I'm going to be here for you. I'm always going to be your auntie. I'm always going to be your cousin. But that does not necessarily translate into your number one customer. Your number one fan and your number one customer are two different things. And so we have to stop putting unrealistic expectations on people. And if you have gone to your family members and friends and asked for support and they don't want to give you that support, then maybe you need to have those conversations with them to find out why, especially if the support that you're asking for is just to share me on your social media, just to refer your friends. Maybe it's because they don't necessarily understand what you do. Maybe it's because they have some questions, or maybe it's just because they don't see you in that light. But you have to be willing to have the conversations. Time out for assuming and then getting upset when we didn't get what we assumed we were going to get. Communication is key, and having realistic expectations is what the foundation of it all is. time out for expecting people to behave in any way that they never agreed to. So hopefully this video has given you some insight, some help, and just that motivation to be an effective communicator for you to start expressing your feelings and your needs to get the desired results. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you, and y'all know the drill. Love one another and be kind, but never stop living your life. LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
I always give away too much. It's like I've got no sense of touch.